Can you guys hear me?
Yes, Aditya, we
Yeah,
can hear you.
perfect.
Yes, yes, perfect.
Okay, cool, guys. Thank you all for joining. I hope you will take something from this session today. So let me just reiterate on the whole process, the instructions which I wrote. So please stay on mute because while I'm working, if you like distract me, I'd like stop my chain of thought. So I'll be stopping midway and I'll be keep the panel open for discussion, and then you can ask me like, why did you do that? Why did you do that? I'll obviously be thinking out loud when I'm doing whatever I'm doing. So, but if you still miss something and if you still have something else to ask, you can go ahead with that. And so it's not a tutorial, so I'm not going to be teaching you how to use the tools, how to do this, how to do etc. YouTube is there for you, drill exercises are there for you to teach you that. I'm just going to show you my perspective of how I think while I design things. So it's more like a live walkthrough on how I approach design. And since there are hundreds of ways to design, I'm showing you my particular method. So you can invent your own method of how you do things, or you can like imbibe it from someone else. And yeah, hope you like it, and let's begin. So to start with, this is one of the screens of what Bumble has for their subscription plan, how they display the subscription plan and benefits, and this is what we'll be designing. So yeah. Let me also enable that keystroke software so you can see whatever key I am pressing. Yeah. So I'm gonna first press F and I'm gonna start put down a frame which is Android large. So if you like go here and look at the elements, so these are the let me break down the elements we'll be needing here. We'll be needing a status bar on top. We'll be needing this bar which shows like where you are right now. We'll be needing element which shows you the benefits of premium. This whole section is the pricing section, and the CTA to pay now, and a secondary CTA to view all premium features. So one by one, we'll go through the entire process, and I'll be designing the whole thing in front of you. So to start with, since Figma community is a very good place, and what you can basically do is instead of designing this whole thing, you can literally just go out there on Figma community. See, I have it searched here already. You can type for status bar and then you can find like multiple numerous status bar which you can use. I already have one here, so I'm just gonna be copying this. Let me see which style I have here. It's a dark style, right? So I'm gonna come here and I'm gonna copy dark as in the background elements are. I'm just gonna copy this, Control C. I'm gonna come to my screen here. I'm gonna come here and press Control V. I'll like carefully align this and it will get snapped easily over here. Now, you see that we have this whole background color on this entire screen. It's a slight gradient, but for our ease, we'll just use a solid yellow. So I'm gonna press on my frame here. I'll press I key, which basically gives me this eyedropper, which can sample any color on the entire screen. And I'm gonna sample this color here. So my whole frame, my whole artwork, my whole real estate where I'll be designing is now yellow, same as Bumble color. And same for this case. I'll be coming here. So you'll see selection colors. So this particular group, this Android status bar, which I copied from here, has two colors in it. One is black, which has a color code of 222227, and one is triple F. So we want to change the yellow part. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click this, click on eyedropper, change it to yellow. So now we have it there. Moving on, I'll get to this particular section. So for this, I'll first draw a rectangle. It can be of, oh sorry, I selected, yeah. So I'm going to press R rectangle tool and I'm going to draw a rectangle here. If you check the size, so these sizes can matter, not matter, vary at times. But in this particular case, it has used 48 and 48 is standard. So I'm going to use a 48 height and the width will be whatever the artboard width. This is called artboard or frame, the phone screen device width. So I'm going to go there and I'm going to make this width to be height to be 48. Now I'll go ahead and snap it, this particular status bar. Moving on, Bumble uses a font named Circular, so I'll be using the same font again. I'm gonna come here. I'm gonna type get to and I'm gonna slightly middle align this, Okay, so to middle align properly with everything, you just have to select this particular text, shift, select the back rectangle, and these tools basically help you with alignment. So if I want to left align, I'll go this. If I go to middle align, I'll go this. So I wanted to align it with the rectangle behind. It has to be centered from top and from left and right. So I'm going to select this to center it vertically and this to center it horizontally. So yeah, we have the center. We're going to check the font size we have here. It's like 19 medium. 19 medium. Yeah, it's the same. And now we need a chevron. So there are several plugins out there on Figma. Let me show you. So if you go to Figma community and you go for Iconify, this is the most commonly used plugin, I think. Shows nothing. Weird. 1 second. Yeah, there's this plugin. Let me search. So there's this plugin, has 1.11 million people using it. So you can try it out to import your items and stuff. It's better than, as a UX designer or as a designer, it's not wise to. I mean, obviously, if it's a custom project, they'll have graphics designers and all assigned to help you out with this. But as a UX designer, it is not your job to create icons. So I have a similar pack called Nucleo, and I'll be using that to get my icons here. So yeah. Meanwhile, I also sample this to the background color, so it has the same thing. I'm gonna get this here and close. I type close to look for my particular icon. There are multiple icons there. I need an icon for 24 pixel size right now, given the requirements. So I'm gonna take that and let's just choose this one. So I'll drag it here. We have it here, perfectly set. Oh, let me change the color back to this so we have a reference point so I can show you what's going on. So yeah, we have our icon in place, 24 by 25. Now I need to middle align this one from the heights. So I will do this. It's already there. And I need to make sure that it is from the right height. So for icons, there is one thing I want to tell you guys. So if it is an icon of 24 pixel by 24 pixel, it will have I can hear someone. Pragya, can you sort that out? Yeah. So now this particular icon is here. Ideally, if you have 24 pixel icons right next to each other and next to each other and next to each other, there might be an issue and people might misclick the incorrect icon. So there is this thing called safe area. So in case of Android or iOS, there are certain safe areas assigned. So we'll be making a safe area around it. To show you as an example, I'm going to draw a rectangle of 48 by 48. I just drew a rectangle. I'm going to change its dimension from the right side of the panel, 48 by 48. I'm going to press Control Shift and yeah, this one, sorry. So it goes exactly to the back. And yeah, so this comes as a safe area. So how icons are exactly used is by having safe areas in practice. So let me give it a color like black so I can show you how this is. No, black is too white. So let me show you how this works here. I place this rectangle here. I'm going to move the layer from the left layer panel to a little bit above this rectangle and right below the text. So here I have to make sure that this particular icon is middle aligned with this rectangle. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Why a safe area exists is now, if you see, if I duplicate this, say if I want to have another icon here, I can easily be able, I should be easily able to click a particular icon, and this safe area makes sure that a wrong action is not taken. So I'm just gonna delete this, and now that this has been aligned, it will be later used for prototyping, which I won't be showing today. It will come in the later classes, but yeah, here I hid it, and now we will be setting this color. Yeah. So we have the top half ready. I am open for a few discussions if you want to ask something regarding what I have done so far. So yeah, please go ahead if you want to ask something.
Was that plugin for icons?
It's called Iconify. You'll find multiple of
Okay.
plugins, like multiple
Sure.
plugins out there. Yeah,
Sure.
there are numerous. The one I use was Nucleo, but it's a paid one. So there are
Nucleo, it's a
free
paid one. Okay.
alternatives out there. Yeah,
Okay.
so you can use those.
How do you find the font?
This is some. So there are certain plugins for font which help you out. I don't know the names. If someone knows the name, can you please put it in the text box? However, for me, in my case, I generally what I do is I generally go to the app's website, and just because it is a part of branding, the fonts are a part of branding. The same font they are using on their website is also there on their particular application. So if I want to show you here, no, my clock is down. One sec. Yeah. I'm just gonna go to Bumble website and I'm gonna open this. There's this plugin I use which is called Font Ninja, I hope. One second. Yeah. So if you click this, it'll automatically tell you what font is this and where that font is used and what size is and everything and all that detail. Now this was a paid font. I got it somehow. I have my own methods. So yeah, so I am using the same font. This is one method to do. There are other methods where you can just take a screenshot or upload that screenshot and it'll help you out with that. So
There's no what font also there. Yeah.
sorry,
There's one more what font.
what font?
It's a tool also for to check the
Yeah,
font.
yeah, got it. I mean, there are numerous out there. You can use whichever you like.
What is the plugin name? What is the plugin name?
Font Ninja.
Okay.
Font Ninja. Yeah.
Hey Aditya. So
Hi.
could you also tell what's the purpose of having a safe area while designing an icon? I kind of missed the last part. So you said that it's mostly used so that you don't
Misclick.
yeah, correct.
Yeah. So it happens because so let me get that rectangle back. So this area represents safe space. If you don't have it, you will just keep aligning those icons like this, right? And if you actually, I'll be giving this once this design is done, I'll be giving it out to you guys in Figma community, and you can duplicate and study and do whatever you want. You can also like view it in Figma Mirror app as well. So what happens is like right now the screen looks big, but if you actually look, this is the screen size, and it is very hard to accurately touch this particular small icon. That is why we have space areas or touch targets around them. So it is an easy way. I mean, so you don't make a mistake. Users don't make a mistake. You got my point?
Yeah,
So,
got
yeah,
it.
so also iOS design system has a standard size like 48 pixel of tapping area, right?
Sorry?
iOS has 48 pixel of tapping area as a standard size, I guess, right?
I am not well vested with iOS design system. However, every design system has a different, say, size and everything. But yeah, currently I cannot answer that because I'm not well aware of how iOS stuff works because I haven't really designed for iOS yet. I'm just starting out. So, yeah. Cool then. Yeah, I'll be moving on to the next section and we'll be designing this whole section. And we'll be taking questions after that. Cool. So I think I had this text ready already for this, yeah. So I'm just gonna copy this. I'm just gonna paste this since you guys already know how to place text and all. I'll just take them down and I'll design this profile picture section. Okay. So now I'm gonna select I'll drop down on this rectangle tool and select O, like ellipse, and you can alternatively also press O to get that. I'm gonna press Shift plus Alt. Now I'm gonna tell you what this does. So whenever you're drawing a shape, if you like freehand it, it's gonna be random. Okay. If you press Shift and then draw it out, it's gonna be uniform. Like the length and width, the height and width will be constant. However, if you also press Alt and Shift, it'll expand itself outwards from the origin from where I started. So that's why I'll be using Alt plus Shift over there. So here we go. I'm gonna press O for the tool. I'm gonna press Alt plus Shift. Make sure it is of the right size. Let's make it 64. Yeah. Oh, also I forgot to mention we'll be using 4-point grid, 4 or 8-point grid. So what happens in 4 or 8-point grid is every element which you see here will be a multiple of 4 or 8. So this has a height of 48. 64 is also a multiple of 4, and all that stuff. So yeah, I'm gonna middle align this. Now if you see, they have a radius, a stroke outside them, and this is how they have a texture. So I'm gonna go ahead, put it like this, make one like this, put it here, put it back, make sure that they are equally distanced. Yeah, so I tidied them up. So they have a distance of minus 29, as you can see here. I'm gonna make it minus 32 to in accordance with the 4-point grid. So yeah, I'm just gonna simply, okay, I'll middle align them later. I'm just gonna give them all a stroke. The stroke has to be white. Let's make it 2. Yeah. Okay, so it doesn't exactly look how it is there, so I'm gonna give them more spacing. So let's make it minus 16. Yeah, that makes more sense. Perfect. Cool. Also, I'm gonna bring this on top of everything. So it's gonna be like Control Shift, this right square bracket. So yeah, it's on top of these 3 layers, and we have our base ready. Now I'm gonna make sure that it is correctly spaced from this particular. It has a spacing of 40. Let's make it 32. So yeah, now I'm gonna be filling these circles. So I'll be using a plugin for that. Let's say, do I have Unsplash here? Yeah, Unsplash is a plugin where you can get pictures for your elements. So I'm gonna be filling this with random. I'm just gonna say people. So I'll use her. I'll fill one of them with this. I'll fill one of them with this guy. So we have this ready. Now I'm gonna get these 2 texts and drag them up at the correct spacing. 12 seems like it, because again 12 is also multiple of 4, and I'm gonna group all these so they act as a single entity, like whenever I'm moving them around. So yeah, so now let me replicate this text, unlock the line to see who already swipe right. I hope you guys are familiar with dating apps, because they have this swiping and left and right and all that stuff. Now our next element is carousel. So carousel, what do you call it, is status thingy. So I'm gonna do that for us. I'm gonna select the ellipse tool. Same method. This has to be a small one, so our 4x4 should be fine. We need a bigger one, say 8x8. Yeah, that's a little bit too big, but it's okay. It's fine. I'm gonna middle align this. I'm gonna Shift plus Alt, create duplicate. Or there's one more method. So if you select this and press Ctrl D, notice on the left side, yeah, a layer will be formed. And if you move this particular layer to a preferential spacing, so it's a small element, right? So we're gonna keep it as a 2 pixel spacing, or we'll manipulate it to 4 after we zoom out and see a better look. So now that we have it, if we go on and press Ctrl D, it'll keep duplicating with the same distance. So depending on the need, we'll work out that way. Yeah, 8 is too big. I think we should make it 6. Yeah, sorted. And the spacing to be 2 again. This particular bar, if elements are equally spaced, it will show you what spacing all these elements have, and then you can, if I make it 5, you see how they get spaced over here from this particular. I'm gonna make it 2. Experiment a bit, maybe make it 4. Yeah, and I will group them and I will middle align them. Once that is done, I'm gonna check their spacing. Maybe give it a 12 spacing. Yeah, spacing in terms of UI is very important, and you will realize how I am grouping elements with spacing. I'm gonna talk about it once I'm done, like with the whole thing. I'll talk about grouping with spacing. So since you guys already know that there are 2 states of these things, this carousel, there are like not select. So let me deselect this first one and select those others. And I'm gonna give them a white color with 40% opacity, or let's make it 60. Yeah, and I'm gonna change this one to black. So it will show you where you exactly are. Cool. So before we head to the next section, you guys can ask regarding what I've done so far.
Aditya, Mahik here.
Sorry?
You are duplicating those circles. Hello?
Yeah.
Am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible. Go ahead, please.
Yeah. So you were duplicating those circles and they were coming out duplicating, and they were coming out with same space, right?
Yeah.
So what have you done for that?
So what I did there was, I'm gonna like do it on a bigger scale here. So I'm gonna draw a circle here. I'm gonna press Control D. Look on the left. I'm gonna press Control Z. Ellipse 20. You see this, right? I'm gonna press Control T, which will create a duplicate. Now this ellipse, if I move it to a particular spacing, okay, say 24, okay, and if I go ahead and press Control D on ellipse 21, it will keep duplicating and duplicating on those particular spacings, whichever I had initially in between these two. Cool?
Yeah, that's a deep learning. Thank you, bro.
Cool. Anyone else?
Aditya, how did you add strokes to that image one?
So whenever you click, you'll see these options regarding that particular element, like what has to be the layer. This thing we'll discuss later. It's something advanced. So let's skip this one. We'll have fill, images and colors. We have stroke option. We have effects where you can put shadows, and then export option obviously to export them as PNGs or JPEGs or whatever. So yeah, that's how we did it. We take that stroke. The stroke is going inside. It can also be outside or in center, but I chose inside so that it does not increase the overall, it does not go beyond the 64 by 64 limit. So yeah. Oh, one thing I missed, guys. So the purpose of this feature is to hide the profile picture of people. So we are gonna do that just now. I'm gonna select these 3 ellipses from this. Yeah, so the ellipses are selected, so they have a slight blur, right? So I'm gonna go to effects. By default, it will give you drop shadow, and I'm gonna change it to layer blur. And I'm gonna reduce the thing to say 1 or maybe 2. Yeah, so they are blurred right here.
Hi Aditya, Komal this side.
Hi, Komal.
Aditya, actually I had my prototype testing until 9, which stretched like a little late. So I just joined some time back. So can you just give a quick 1-minute introduction, maybe what we are doing here, so that I can...
Don't worry about it. The session is being recording, so has been recording from the start. So yeah, you can view that. But as a just, I'm just redesigning a screen which I already redesigned in a hackathon project. While
This is the Bumble screen, because I think I checked your
it's at Bumble
presentation.
screen. Yeah.
Right.
It's Bumble screen. Yeah.
Right. I've seen that presentation, I think, in which you had mentioned plans.
Awesome. Great, cool. So yeah, this is the same screen, so it's easier for me to help, design this thing and show you guys like what to do.
Great.
So yeah. Okay. So now I'll be moving on to the next section, which is plans, this whole section.
Yeah, one more question.
Acha, okay, yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
One thing I want to, if you just make the blur of the images, but as an example, the stroke is not blur, but you have make this when you make the blur, the stroke is also blur here.
Yeah.
Same I was going to tell.
Yeah, that is there. I mean, obviously you can improvise. There's supposed to be 2 different layers for that and all that. I can say there is a fix. I can press Control D. I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna, hide these. I'm gonna remove the layer blur as well. Yep, there it goes. See, it got fixed. I did not explain it because it's a simple thing. However, you see the blur here is gone now. It's not blurred anymore. So yeah, this ellipse.
Sorry, what did you do, Aditya?
I duplicated this layer. Okay.
Right.
I went ahead and removed its fill. The fill is basically the inside part. Okay. Which was an image and the previous color, which it already had by default. And then I also stroke is needed, so I left it as it is, and I removed the blur from this particular layer because this layer needs no blur. Right, so that's why it's clear out there. There are numerous ways to do it. This was a quick way I showed.
We can do this by masking as well, right?
Yeah, you can explore XYZ options. I'm trying to keep things very simple here, so people who are extremely new can also understand and they do not get overwhelmed. Basically, I'm not getting very advanced with these things. I'm keeping it very simple. So yeah, that's the purpose. Is there anything else anyone wants to ask?
Aditya, why we have kept the sizes 64 only? We could have used some bigger sizes also.
Yeah, we could have used bigger sizes. It's your freedom. You can do whatever. I chose to have it 64. Bumble chose it 64. Bumble had 62, I made it 64. It's your freedom. There's no necessity. The only thing you need to keep in mind is that the whole thing has to be a multiple of 4, 8, whichever grid system you choose. Then it's your freedom how you want to do it. All you have to focus, especially as designers, are constraints. Constraints are very important. Constraints, when I say constraints, it's basically all the spacing and padding and all that stuff. I'll come to padding. I'll talk about it. So, yeah.
What about margins?
Sorry? Margins.
Margins.
Margins in what terms?
For this, right? You have the text end to end.
I can't get you, sorry.
Like, for example, the text, the unlock B line to C, that line is there, right?
Yeah.
So if it's like extending, if it's like a big line, how do we put it like
So if this line is extending, there's an option to truncate this beyond a particular point here. So if I actually go ahead and write something else, it'll truncate this whole
Have
thing.
you stopped
However-
the streaming? Acha.
No, I have not.
Okay. I was not able to see your screen. Now I can.
Okay. So yeah, this is what you do. However, in this case, copywriters are already there. Make sure that they write text in such a way that it is there in design's constraints. So that is not something as we explained you have to worry out later in time. So yeah, I'm gonna just undo this action. Cool. Yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead now, because if we spend too much time on discussing, we won't be able to finish the screen. We'll have all sorts of discussions after I have time. So people who want to leave can leave once the screen is done. So yeah. Now I'll be copying this popular plan screen. It's mostly what circular bold 21. So I'll go here, text here. I'm gonna go and type popular plans, or let's make it as choose a plan. This was what? 21. Yeah, it's the same thing. Good. Now I'm gonna middle align this. Now, now these are two different sections, right? So I'm gonna have a bigger spacing here. So say 24. Earlier we were having 12, 12, 12. Yeah. Where's it? 32. Cool. So here we are gonna have 24, and let's start working on these particular cards. So I'm gonna start making these cards outside, not here inside, or let's just do it inside. Let's give them a height of 62. However, the height will be variable. Give them a corner radius of 22. So we round them off. Middle align them. See if the spacing are working out. Nope. Expand this a little bit. 25. Just yeah. And then middle align again. Now we have it as 312 by 62 with the spacing at 24 frontages. Perfect. I'm gonna choose a spacing like this. Yeah, 16 should be fine. Cool. Now I'm gonna give it a stroke. Make it white. The stroke width will be 2, and I'm gonna delete the fill. Once we have that, now it has a check mark icon and something describing its like a text describing the duration and the price. So this is for the 1 week card, and a tag chain most part. So I'll come to the tag at the last, and then we'll work on these particular cards. And then also after this, I'll show you a method how I auto layout it. And once I auto layout it, I'll show you how it is more advantageous. I'll come to it. So yeah, now we'll go and we'll look for checkbox. This is for, no, we need an empty one. Radio. Yeah. So the size is 24. I'm gonna just drag this here. Put it here. Space it accordingly. Say 12. Give it a height of 64 because you saw that there was an even number. Wait, maybe sort it. we'll be using this later. Right now we'll check one. So I'm gonna just go here. I'm gonna go to the checkbox. And I'll choose this particular one. Put it. So 12, 20, 20, everything's even. Cool, sorted. Now I'm gonna give it a color, which would be white, to show that it has been selected. I will take this, write 1 week, left align this, make this 19 because it's too big for a small section. Make sure the spacings are apt. Yep, perfect. For this we'll give 12 as well. And yeah, perfect. And then we'll go with the same font size. Go ahead, space it from right align this, so whatever price will be right. Or not bad. Let's give it a spacing of 16 instead of 12. 1, 2, 3, 4. And 1, 2, 3, 4. So how I'm doing this is basically if I have an element selected and if I press Alt and if I hover on a particular layer, it will show me the distances from all sides which I'm having with that particular layer. So this text layer 1 week has been selected. I press Alt and I hover over this outer rectangle. So once I do that, you'll see that it is showing me from top and bottom, left and right, whatever the spacings are with respect to it. So now you can see like it's 20, 16 and multiples of 2, 4, whatever. So yeah, and I'm gonna, since it is right aligned, I'm gonna give it a price of rupees 299. We have this card ready.
Hi Aditya, why we are using the even numbers? Is there anything like they need?
I'm gonna take questions after I'm done with the section. So if you could ask after that, that would be great.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sorry.
initially as well I mentioned like it will break my thought process. So
Sorry. I was not there. I'm so
no
sorry.
problem, sorry. So right, we have this tag to show most popular, and I'm gonna quickly do that. I'm gonna press Shift plus Alt. Oh, okay, that does not work with a rectangle. So I'm just gonna press Shift or Alt actually. Yeah. I'm gonna align this here. I'm gonna click on the fill, take it all the way to the top, and it'll have a white particular thing. And I'm gonna select these two, middle align. So now they are sorted. I'm gonna press Alt and increase it with a little bit, let's say 100. And now I'll just go there and put my text. Most popular. I will middle align this because it's supposed to be in the middle. And I'll also decrease the size to 10. 10 is the minimum size which you're supposed to have on Android. Any smaller than that will have difficulties in renderings, and since it is a tag, we can also like go to 9. Because tags are really not something you guys, a user has to do. So we can play around the tags easily. So yeah, 9 or 10 doesn't really matter about that. So now we have this particular card ready. Let's just increase its height a little bit more. Okay. My system is a little bit slow right now because of the screen sharing and recording in parallel. So yeah, so I'm like, instead of using my mouse controls, I'm sometimes using this tab. So yeah, we have this centered, and now we'll go ahead and press Ctrl G to group this. So if I has to move, it will move together. Cool. Now we'll work on the next particular card. Let me take this down to awesome. I'm gonna duplicate this. Yeah. I'm gonna duplicate this. Give it a spacing of 12, but I'll first remove this because this is not needed in this particular group. And space it by pressing Alt. Now we have it as 12. We'll replace this icon. So to get an icon which is not already in the group, inside a group, you can use the layer panel. So if you see here, I'm gonna first rename this first group as pricing 1, so it becomes easy for me to understand what's going on, and I'm gonna select this particular group and make it as pricing 2. Now I'll take this particular radio button, I'll move it inside pricing 2. Now that we have it here, I'm gonna easily align this behind this. Yeah, so like it's, if you see, it gets snapped here, and I'm gonna delete this particular icon, hide it or delete it, it's up to you, however you want to focus your particular design. And now I'll just simply select this back and change the stroke to somewhat of a, I'm gonna take this yellow color and yeah, select this. And so this is HSL. It stands for hue, saturation and lightness. So right now I'm manipulating its lightness. So if you see here, I'll make it something to, you know, little bit around 90 maybe. Or, oh yeah, one more thing, not 90. Actually, we'll make it somewhat lesser. Let me just select this. And we'll make it 80. For this case as well, while we're gonna come here. Or we're gonna just sample this and select this particular color. Sorted. So now this white here is representing a selected state, that yeah, this has been checked. How to show a non-selected state is by graying it out or giving it a lower opacity color. Also, we can reduce its stroke to 1 because we don't want it to have a lot of focus. And in this case, okay, apparently we cannot change the stroke of this particular icon, but while choosing stroke, I should have made sure that I'm using a stroke like this. So you can probably do that when you are designing, just choose the correct stroke. So yeah, we have it here. And we also need these small text which say you save 53% when you take a 1 month plan and how much it is going to cost you per month. So I'm just gonna like expand this a bit. Okay. Let me set the constraints to center so that doesn't get deformed. Hold on. Yeah, sorry. So what I did there here was, if you noticed earlier, this was also changing its shape. Like this was also getting expanded as I was expanding this particular group. So to counter that, I just selected this and made its constraints to top and left, so it won't scale, which it earlier was, hopefully. So yeah. Now I'll also middle align this with respect to this outer bar. It has 20. Yeah, we need to reduce this by 172. Sorry. Now we'll duplicate this text, reduce its size to say 12 or for a 10. We need italics, so since I do not have italics font for this circular font, I'm just gonna choose enter. You don't have to do that because whenever you're using font, make sure you have all these variants. So enter has all these variants. I'm gonna just make it as medium italic or semi-bold italic. And the thing was here, you save 53%, so I'm just gonna write that. You save 53%. Yeah. This is left and right, and same thing, I'll go on the right. And the price here was $6.99 or whatever it was. That really does not matter. It says rupees 6.99. Oh, I forgot to right align it. Okay. 699.00 per month. And we'll take it back to circular and make it bookmark. This was not necessary. And I'm gonna give these two a little bit breathing space, like they're actually touching them. So since it's inside, I'll take a spacing of 4. And I'm also gonna increase this a little bit, or I'll just move them. Let me put up. Yeah. Good. Almost looks similar. So yeah. So now this was one method to do it, and you'll have to like duplicate this and this and this. What could have been another method was auto layout. So if I take this particular element outside, let me just draw a rectangle so you can see, because it has poor visibility. I'm going to shift it entirely to the back and change its color to somewhat, okay, let's just give it Bumbles yellow color so you can see. Yeah. And I'm going to ungroup this whole thing. Right click, ungroup. Yeah. One easier way to do this is to have it all auto layouted. I'm just going to show you how auto layout works. I'm not going to teach you how auto layout works. You can do that on YouTube. You can learn how auto layout works on YouTube. I'm just going to show you how beneficial it was, because actually if you see here, I have used auto layout. Everything here is auto layouted. So I'm just going to show, like, give you a brief just how it works. So I'm going to auto layout these two particular text, and I'm going to change it to space between. I will separately auto layout these two, and again change them to space between. Then I'm going to auto layout this particular frame and this particular frame, and I'll auto layout these two with the radio button as well. Making sure that it is centered. Yeah, it is leaving as centered. And then I'm going to auto layout this whole thing with this particular outer rectangle right here. So now what I did here was I auto layouted this whole thing. The benefit it gives me is if I want to make any sort of changes, or like any particular, if I want to add something, add another line, I can simply go here and press duplicate. This particular radio button will stay in the center. You can have whatever details you want to have. It will like it'll automatically make changes. If I want to go here and hide this particular layer, it will work like this. And now you'll notice that if I had auto layouted it earlier, considering these edge cases, that okay, when I say edge case, I mean like all possible cases which might arise for that particular artwork you're making. So if you notice, I made this card individually. However, if I made this card first with all the possible edge cases and then auto layouted and removed this bottom description, it would have worked for 1 week as well. So this is the power of auto layout right here. I'm going to just undo everything. You don't need to worry about what I did in auto layout. I just wanted to show you how auto layout works. One of the major benefits of auto layout is if I also duplicate this, if I also duplicate this frame by alt drag drop, and if I auto layout these frames, and if I come here and start duplicating this, it will keep going on, and you can make changes whatever you want, and individual elements will respond individually. So if I, let me expand this, if I duplicate this small thing right here, the word description, it will react with all the elements in that particular auto layout. So that's the power of auto layout. It's a good practice if you want to make your work easy, because once the stakeholders come and say, hey, we want to make this change, and if stuff is not auto layouted or well componented, you will have hell lot of trouble in fixing those things. So yeah, back to the pricing section. I'm not gonna go out there and put exact pricing and everything, because it's just text stuff, doesn't matter. I'm gonna frame this. So I'm gonna right click and frame selection. I'm gonna enable the setting of clip content, and I'm gonna reduce the frame size here because I want my CTA to be here. Cool. So before we move on to the CTA, I'm open for discussions again if you want to ask anything.
What did you just do last? I could not follow. Can you just repeat it, please, Aditya?
The last thing I did was I showed you a preview of auto layout. Auto layout is a feature in Figma, and I think it's available in other. I think in Adobe XD it is similar to Repeat Grid, and in Sketch I don't know what it is called, but something similar is already there. So what happens is if I use auto layout, let me duplicate this frame outside for you. And if I want to like do anything, I hope this was auto layouted. Yeah, this is auto layouted. So yeah. So if I want to make any particular changes, let me get this here. If I want to make any particular changes to any small elements, say if I want to add some more detail to this particular plan, right? And if I press Ctrl D to duplicate, or say I want 10 more lines. Ideally that's not gonna happen, but I'm doing this to show you. So can you see how these bottom elements are reacting to this? They're staying responsive, maintaining their spacings, maintaining their constraints without breaking. And this
Yeah.
particular radio button as well is staying in the center. So yeah, that's what I was showing you. Just a benefit of auto layout. How to use auto layout and all. There's plenty of tutorials on YouTube. You can go there.
Yeah,
And then,
got it.
or eventually
Yeah,
you'll be doing
but
it in the
just
future.
the step after this, you just did something with the screen, like on the
frame
screen, where
and
you just minimized it, and the week got a little.
That I converted this whole
Yeah,
thing
yeah.
to a frame, and then I selected clip content. So what this is basically, I have a screen here, right? It has clip content selected. If I do not clip content, you see this ideally is a carousel, which is going on the right.
Okay.
I had this entire carousel prepared or like duplicated. So if I do not press on clip content, the content will overflow from outside the screen. And I do not want that to happen. I mean, obviously, in certain cases, if you want to show that there is an overflow, you can have it. While designing, you can have it. But during presentations, you can hide it. So that is why I hid it. And in my particular case, I wanted my CTA button to be coming here eventually. I'll design the CTA, somewhat touching this right here, like this. That is why I hid it. So that's why it was there. Yeah.
So can you just redo that thing once again, just like expand it and just shorten it once again so that I can see it more clearly? Is it another frame that you've done it?
It's not another
Behind
frame.
that?
It's just the same. It was just a group of these pricing plans.
Okay.
I
Okay, fine.
selected them together. Okay. I came here, I selected them together, I pressed shift, the last layer, the first layer, all of them got selected. I right clicked
Got
them
it.
and clicked on frame selection. So that
Okay,
converted them
fine.
to a frame, this particular frame.
Okay. So
Aditya,
individual
why-
element just got converted into frames and you just toggled it that way.
They did not get converted to a frame, they came inside a frame. A
Okay,
new frame
got it,
got
fine.
created and became a part of that frame. They come under that frame.
Okay, fine. Got it. Yes. Yeah. Thank you so much for the
why is it
clarity.
required?
You're welcome. Can
Aditya,
you
why is it required to put it all in a frame? I mean, why can't we I'm a little confused between clipping and putting it all in a frame or grouping or component, all these things. Like, all
First
these
off,
can seem to
it
be
is
the
a
same.
good practice. Second thing, I want to ask you, how experienced are you with UI? Like, have you done any sort of
Totally
UI work yet?
fresher.
Sorry?
Like a very, very elementary. I'm a fresher. I'm not a
Okay,
UI
so you're a
background.
fresher.
I'm not
So,
from the design background.
so what happens is, grouping is generally done or framing is generally done because, so if I'm done with this particular thing and if I want to, make a few changes XYZ, okay? If it is not properly framed or grouped, if I want to move it around a little bit, I'll have to go out there. One second. Look, like suppose my stakeholders say, hey, choose a plan is sitting way too close to this most popular thing, or maybe some not stakeholder exactly, but another designer. So it's like, can you manipulate the space? So if this whole thing is not properly grouped, what I'll have to do is I'll have to select each and every element by clicking them, and then
Right.
move them right. However, if it is in a frame, you just click once anywhere, and the whole frame will get selected, and you can do whatever you want to do with it. That's the whole purpose
That's
of.
what the component also does.
No, component has a different purpose. That's not
Okay.
what component always does. Hold on.
Okay.
Hello. Aku, I'm in the live section right now. Can you please call you back when you're done? I'm hosting. Bye. Okay, yeah, I'm back. So yeah, that's why we do it. Components and all have a separate purpose. If I want to show you, I made this instruction screen. So the purpose of components is like these icons are all components. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. And I have named them in a certain way. So I'm just gonna show you an advantage of it. I'm not gonna show you what happens and all that shit. So if I have to come here and change this icon. So we are like, okay, we don't like this icon. So I can just double click it. Come here and swap this icon. Okay. That's one thing.
Right.
And supposing I do not like the shade of yellow of this particular smiley. So if I go to that main parent component and if I click on this, make this black. This here, okay, I don't know why I did that, but yeah, it'll come as black everywhere. Yeah. So that's how components and all work. That's something advanced. We'll eventually come to it. Today we are keeping it very light. So coming back to my
And
thing. Yeah.
Can you come back to the clipping feature in the carousel wherein the display images are there?
Yeah.
Why have you clipped
I have to
that?
because I don't want you guys to see this, right? I don't want people seeing that all this. If I want them to see, I won't clip it.
Okay, so
what happens is it will not show outside the frame, but it will still, if I go here and I prototype this, it will still show, it will still function at it, you know, as it is supposed to function.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, so that's what happens. Cool. Any other questions, guys?
Can you just show how you clipped that carousel?
I can't clearly hear you. Your voice is too low.
Hear me now.
Yeah.
Can you show like how you clipped that part, the carousel?
Clipping anything is like very simple. You just have this, and there's this option here, clip content. You can arrange your content however you want to. I hope this is a frame, right? 1 second. Yeah, this is a whole frame. The whole thing is a frame. So I wanted horizontal scroll. It's some advanced prototyping stuff. So I'm not gonna get into this. But this is it's showing only this because I have restricted this to this particular bound. The same thing which I did here, I restricted it. Okay. So this whole thing is a frame, and I simply clipped this outer frame which I'm supposed to have in my display, and that's why that happened. Because I don't want people to see the whole thing. I just want to see the functionality here, this scroll. So yeah. Cool. Any other questions?
Another basic doubt.
Hmm.
When you go to the text under see who likes you, the unlock beeline part.
Mm-hmm.
Like so like usually like even after I center align it, when we type out text it goes out to the right, but when you typed in there, like it got center aligned on its own.
Yeah, because I have this centered. I centered aligned with the layer, and I also centered aligned as a text layer. So whatever XYZ I'm typing here will keep coming. Okay.
I
Right
have
now,
to align it with the layer as well, like with the page.
yeah, you have to center. That happens only like when you have to center align with the page. But ideally, if text is on the right hand of the screen, it should be right aligned. Like if I show you this particular thing is right aligned. If this text is center aligned, you'll see that I have center aligned. This text is center aligned. This is also center aligned, right? Center aligned to the screen and centered aligned in the text layer as a whole, acting, you know, coming out from the origin, expanding from the origin. That's what's happening. This text here is left aligned, and that is why I have it here as text aligned left. Yeah?
Yeah, thank you.
Sorry, cool. Any other questions before we move ahead?
Hello.
One question. Okay, when you make a group or when you make the frame, is there any particular reason or any theories?
Yeah, I just explained that reason moments ago.
Okay.
The reason I'll reiterate. If it is not grouped, suppose, you know what, let me just ungroup it. Okay. And a designer comes and says, like, you know, none of it is grouped. Supposing none of it is grouped. And a designer comes and says, bro, can you like move it a little bit down? It's like, you know, sitting too high. So like I'll have to select this and this and this and this and this. And what if there are 100 elements? Will you go out there?
No,
and
we can make it frame. We can make it frame, but I mean the particular this item we can make it also frame, right?
Yeah.
So why it is?
I made it as a frame only.
Okay.
I was just talking about because so frame and groups work differently. I won't be explaining that you will have to figure out yourself, because if I tell you that, you know, you won't get the gist of it. So you should probably everyone here should probably go out there and experiment. Frame has advanced settings. Frame has auto layout capabilities. Group does not have that. Group is for simple stuff like, you know, simply grouping these photos which will have no use, just for the sake of grouping it. If there are some advanced operations which might be required, only then framing and all is done. So I'm gonna just undo all of that. Yeah, sorted. Good. No, not yet. So yeah, any other questions?
Hello. Hi, Aditya. Yeah.
Hi.
Aditya. Hello.
Yeah, go
Hello.
ahead, please. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah,
Hello.
I was asked regarding the spacing thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, why it is important, and like what is the reason behind it? Like since you were checking the spacing in each step, so that's why I wanted to ask.
I'm gonna give you a very straightaway answer to this. A lot of time
Okay.
you will encounter and you'll see bad designs and they look like absolutely horrible. One of the reasons those designs are that bad is because they have no proper hierarchy, no proper spacing. So what you achieve with proper spacing is a proper hierarchy, proper grouping, proper visual, say, aesthetics and all those things. So if you do not have proper spacing set, everything will look bad and it'll also have poor usability on top of that. So there are certain spacing rules and all which I won't be explaining. These are topics you'll individually have to go and study yourself, explore, and then only you'll come to know about it. I'm telling you this because so the whole purpose of this is to make you aware of things. Because earlier, like a lot of you will not know that spacing and constraints are important. But now that I have told you, you can go out there and search in the wild, see what's happening and how I'm supposed to use this and all those things.
And can you tell, like in XD, how we can do the auto layering thing? Is it there or it is not?
I think it's there in XD. It's called responsive resize. I haven't used XD in an year, but since I was there, it was auto resize, and then there's this thing called repeat grid. So on the combination of that, this thing can be achieved.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much.
I'll be taking one last question. After that, I'll proceed.
Okay, Aditya, just 1 second. Just wanted to tell everybody that post your questions in the comment, and when Aditya asks you to go ahead with your question, we'll go one by one because a lot of people are not able to get a chance to ask their questions even though they've put it in the video. So I think Asha had asked a question. So she can go ahead now, and then everybody just put a question in the comment. We'll go one by one.
That's a better way. Yeah, surely, Pratik.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Asha.
I just had like one thing. When we are making this pricing card and we are doing like when you were teaching us the auto layout side mein. So in that case, all these elements, do we group them together and then use an auto layout? Or
No. They were like individually auto layouted with each other so that they can react in a certain way. So you have to pre-plan how those elements are going to be, how those elements will behave. What is your plan? What information you are going to, you need to have the thought process in your head already. And according to that, you can auto layout. Because auto layouting and grouping do not go side by side. They work entirely different. So, yeah, that's how it works.
Question only, Aditya. Hello, Aditya.
I think
like when you just said-
I'll be taking questions at last now. Just put them in the comments because otherwise I won't be able to proceed and then some people will have to leave. And yeah, so I'll just finish my screen and then we'll have a huge question round where we'll be talking like only questions. Cool. So yeah, let me go ahead this particular thing. I'm just gonna, since it is at clip. Okay, this is not good. My mouse has malfunctioned. Figma has malfunctioned. 1 second. Yeah, I'm just gonna close this project and open it again. I hope you saw what the problem was. It was not giving me the live status of what's happening. So yeah, just gonna quickly open this again. Yeah, perfect now. Good. So I'll be designing this button now. Let me just check. Yeah, okay, good. So I'll be going here. Taking a no, my bad. I keep making the same mistake. I'll take a rectangle here and draw it out. What was the width of this particular section? 312. Okay, I'll put it here. Center a line. I'll make the height 40 because it is a button should have a minimum height of 40, so they are like always clickable and stuff. I'm gonna place it above this thing. I'm gonna give it more width, say 320. Center a line. Give it a roundness of 30. Yeah, sorted. It's all round now. I'm gonna give it a white color. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I sampled this by pressing I and selecting the same color. I'll be coming here and I'll type K now. Wait, why is it not visible? Oh, because it's coming inside the frame. I'm just See, it's not visible because it somehow came inside the frame. So I'm just gonna take this layer and I'll drag it and bring it to the top. Okay. So yeah, I did that. Center aligned, perfect, working. Text is 17, sorted. I'm just gonna middle align this whole thing, and I'll just simply group it. Ideally, I have buttons as auto layouted, but for now, I'll just group it. Auto layouted, why? I'll show you. So for some reason, if you need a two-liner, okay, no, it's not auto layouted. Never mind. This did not need an auto layout. It's a full width button. Full width button generally do not need auto layout. However, I'll just show you now that I've said it. If there is a particular button where there can be whose whose metrics or sizings are based on the text, then you auto layout them. So if I go ahead and auto layout this, you'll see that there's a padding. This thing is called padding. The distance from the left, from the right, from top and bottom is 125 each. So I'm gonna reduce it to 32 for now. So yeah, now that this whole button is auto layouted, you'll see how auto layout helps in this particular case. Pay now or join for free. So you see how this button reacted while keeping its constraints there. So that's why we auto layout all this. But for full width button, you have to make sure the text is fitting. There's nothing you can do. That's why I did not auto layout it there. Yeah, I'm just gonna delete this here, and I'm just gonna have a secondary CTA. CTA stands for call to action. Text with an underline to depict that it's a link. I'll hold on. It was not in this particular layer. It came out, so I just put it in the layers. And yeah, middle align this, and we're done with the screen. Give me a moment. We're done with the screen now. I'll be back in 2 minutes. I just have to go to the washroom. Meanwhile, you guys put down your questions and we can talk about it. Yeah, be right back. Alright guys, I'm back. So yeah, we can start. So I'm just gonna read out the question in the comments. Prashi asks, guys, do we maintain spacing and margins to deliver it to developers? If there's no spacing rules, grids will be difficult for the developers to build the UI. That is one reason. I mean, obviously, grids and spacing and everything, if you have it defined, it will definitely help the developers. However, if you don't follow those things, your design will not look good. If you go out there and see how Dribbble designers do it, there are some very fancy designs on Dribbble. But if you go out there and you see, they're not exactly feasible because they don't follow. I mean, they follow some good spacing standards, but they're not as good to be implemented in a proper actual app, because that's why you don't see such applications in real life. They will be very rare out there with not enough functionality. Yeah. Neha asks, do we select every single component in auto layout just we do for grouping? Do we select every single component to auto layout just we do for grouping? Yeah, Asha asked the same question. I'm gonna answer. It's the same answer. You have to plan ahead, like how this element is going to function. Once you understand auto layout and how auto layout works, you will end up auto layouting the whole thing that way. Avarna, what do I look for if I want to learn about the best practices for buttons, font size, and spacing? You can go to Google Material Design. So there's this thing, material2.io, material.io, sorry, not material2.io. Over there, you'll find everything you need to know regarding designing, what spacing, what font to use, how much padding is supposed to be, like all the good practices are there. And they also give you a lot of use cases to look at and a lot of examples as well. Prachi had already answered it. Do we need to have frames to create auto layout? Initially, we don't need frames. Obviously, you can auto layout frames, but you can also, like I showed while auto layouting these texts, that these particular texts can be auto layouted among themselves as well. So not exactly. Auto layouting something converts them to a particular frame, which is an auto layout frame. So yeah.
Hello, Aditya.
Hi.
Can you just play your main screen? Like, I want to see the prototype once, and I have a question regarding that.
Yeah, sure.
So, while you're scrolling it, can you once scroll?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, below that, you have kept this small circular which indicates the page is getting swiped, right?
Right.
In the main page which you are showing currently,
Hmm.
you are currently showing only like one of the ellipses dark. So
Hmm.
do we need to create multiple screens to show that okay this page is moving?
If
And
you
how
want
do
to,
we?
if you want to prototype it well, I got your question. It's like you want it to have like look very functional, right, in the prototype. That's what you're asking. Yes.
Yes.
So over here we would have done the same thing, but since it was a hackathon and we were like very short on time, so we just improvised and did basic stuff. So there are ways where you can show like how carousels move, and in Bumble what ideally happens is these were like moving automatically. I mean, obviously you can control them normally, but these were moving automatically. So there are ways in prototyping. Those are some advanced prototyping techniques. You'll know them once you use enough Figma or you have prototype enough. They'll actually react when I'm moving like this, and they'll actually look in such a way how it is supposed to look in mobile applications. So due to the time constraints and all, I did not do that because that was not the agenda today. There will probably be a separate session like this which will focus only on prototyping, and it will have all of those things. So yeah.
Aditya, Komal this side again. I have probably one very silly question. Like, you've used icons here, for example, the battery icon or the cross icon
Yeah.
before on the left of Get Premium. So when we are designing a screen or a frame from the scratch,
Mm-hmm.
so different icons can look different. Like even if it's like a battery icon and a cross icon, they can have a completely a
Different state. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, how to get for a screen if I have like 4 icons required,
Mm-hmm.
how to get icons which are of the same dissimilar design? I mean, even if it's a battery, I hope I'm getting
Yeah,
it like.
I got your question. So what you're asking is icon consistency. Now for icon
Yeah,
consistency,
yeah.
there's a plugin if you're designing for Google. I'm not sure about that plugin. It's something like Google Icons or something like that. Can someone please put, because Anudeep also like did it live. It's there, so if someone can put that in chat. So what that does is it will only give you material icons. I think if you go and search for material icons, you will find it there. So you can only have that. iOS again has its own library. Yeah, material symbols. Thank you, Manshu. So iOS has its own library of icons as well. So you can find those there. Okay.
Can we have access to that? Like,
I am not sure how you get access to those things, but there are things. I'm pretty sure someone on community has put it, because I see there are a lot of icon packs in community, not just plugins, actual icon packs.
okay.
Yeah.
Because the cross in the right screen seems a little off to me.
Yeah.
with respect to the Get
Both
Premium
of these
and-
crosses come from the same particular plugin, but I did not have the time to look for the exact.
I got
Yeah.
that. You just kind of use
Yeah.
a placeholder. You just wanted to show how it is done.
Yeah, exactly.
But yes, icon consistency is what I was. And this timing on the top on the left screen, 12:30, is it done deliberately towards the
Yeah, it is done
right?
deliberately because I have a OnePlus phone. So OnePlus phone generally have a slight camera notch right here.
Okay.
So keeping
Alright.
that in mind, a couple of I think 3 of our users also had OnePlus phone, so that they feel natural about it. I just spaced it accordingly with the camera notch, and then put it here.
Alright.
So that was done
Alright.
deliberately. Yeah, that's why.
Aditya, you can show that under the prototype settings like devices. So in iOS, we do have a center enter top notch, which comes between this is screen,
Okay.
the device. So if you select any screen and go to the prototype,
Mm-hmm.
at the top there is settings. So under
Okay.
that you can select the device. So yeah, there is
There is a
this.
device, but
Yeah,
it
under that
it,
is
it won't it has so much for iPhone, but it doesn't have for Android small or Android large. And if you like do this, I wasn't sure about it again because we did not have time for this. I haven't explored it yet. But my main concern here was if I press Android large, okay, it will show me an Android large device here. But what if I show this prototype in phone and that person has a phone inside a phone? So I did not have the time to figure that out. So I ended up not adding a device here.
But Aditya, in the responsive design, doesn't it itself like as per the phone that we're using or the device that we're using? Because these designs are mostly the responsive designs. So whether we're using an iPhone or a OnePlus or another Android device,
Mm-hmm.
so
I mean
doesn't
that responsiveness actually that's how much I know. That's my knowledge level, because that responsiveness actually happens in the developer side of things. You have to deliberately tell the developer ki, okay, this is how this thing is going to react, this is how this thing is going to react, because as far as I'm concerned, developers are also given different designs for iOS and Android, because icons are different,
their conventions,
button styles are
different
different.
conventions.
Yeah, the conventions are different. Yeah, that's why.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, totally. Cool. Any other questions?
Aditya, I have one more. So, did you thought about the accessibility point when you were keeping the opacities? Because few of the icons are looking very light.
Few of the icons were looking very light, as in this particular thing.
Yeah.
I think we tested these, we primarily tested these designs as well with people, and they were not having an issue with it. So, I mean, again, we did not have the time to think so much because it was a hackathon project. So, you're right. You're right about that point. That maybe there could have been a different indication of unselected stage, but yeah, we had to improvise and just quickly do stuff. That's what we did.
Actually, I was talking about WCAG guidelines that
Yeah, and I got your point. Yeah, got it.
Yeah.
Also, how have you done this carousel thing? How have you designed it? If you can just give a brief.
Any carousel is very simple. I'm just gonna make a bunch of rectangles and show you how it is done, and have different colors. So this is 1. This is 2. Let's give them this color. This is 3. Let's give them a separate this color. 4. 1 second. Now that you have these things, you will just select them, frame them. Where is that frame button? Yeah, frame selection. And then you go to clip contents and change the bounds of these frames. Okay.
Alright.
And how it was working is just to show you, like, if you add interact scrolling, if you give it horizontal scrolling. If I go ahead and prototype this, see this? This is how it works.
Okay. Alright. So, in a frame also, if you put it and select this particular component, and you can add horizontal scrolling to it separately, apart from the
If it's a frame inside a frame, yes, that may work. I haven't tried it yet. Frame inside a frame scroll. I haven't tried it, so I
in
can't.
The shopping sites we have, no?
Yeah. Can you give me an example once?
In yours is also frame inside a frame, like it's a mobile frame, then inside it's a frame.
Yeah, that is there, but I'm not sure if a frame inside this will work.
Not here, in the above section wherein you have your carousel also exists within a frame, no?
So the thing is, generally for the inner elements to have that scroll, they are generally auto layouted right now. This particular screen is a frame. It's not an auto layout frame. This here is an auto layout frame, and this here is an auto layout frame. So they can function individually separately.
Yeah,
However,
that's what
I
I
don't know
wanted.
if I put another auto layout frame with horizontal scroll. I am not sure how that is supposed to work. However, it's a very good thing. I'll like try it and get back to you. Get back to
Sure.
you like on this group in particular. Yeah.
Sure. Thank you. Good work, Aditya.
Thank you. If there are no more questions, I mean, are there any more questions?
Outside question.
Yeah.
What's the name of the application you are using for indicating the keys you are pressing in the keyboard?
Oh, that is a software named KeyViz.
Key? Can you
Viz.
spell it out?
Yeah.
K-E-Y?
KEYWVIZ. Yeah, you'll find it on GitHub. Some guy made it like 10 days ago. So yeah.
Okay.
That's all.
Thanks. Good. Cool. Thank you, bro.
You're welcome. Any further questions? Cool. So since there are no questions, what I'll be doing is I'll be posting a feedback form soon in the chat. I would like really appreciate it if you guys could drop a feedback, how much you like the session and all that stuff. So it'll help us better organize such sessions in future. So yeah, I'll be very happy if you guys can do that. So
Aditya,
yeah.
I had a question which is out of the class that you did, okay?
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
I wanted to know that you, because I'm a fresher to the entire UI thing. So the Figma or UX, Adobe XD are like the two more major important platforms for UI designs that people are using currently, right? So I think just like a few minutes ago, you had a question where you was answering something related to XD. So I wanted to know, you've had the hands-on to both the platforms. So what is the difference and why are people having these, a debate of why either or?
It depends on the use case.
Is it because they both are having different style of additions to their platforms, or they are similar, but then it depends on the user how they are wanting to perceive a design?
Yeah. So so this is what happened. March 2020, I started using Adobe XD, and I used it until last year. Last year, I switched to Figma because Anudeep convinced me, and earlier I used to design as a solo person. For solo, Adobe is really good. When it comes to collaboration, Adobe XD is bad. Like when I tried with one of my friends on a group project we were working on, it was like our experience was very bad, and we eventually migrated to Figma, and we eventually worked on Figma for the future projects. There are certain things Adobe XD has which are like very good. Adobe XD's animations, those smart animate and whatever prototyping and all is like brilliant. I'm talking from 1 year ago's perspective. Right now, I don't know where Figma stands because I haven't really done all those gimmicks which you do when you start with UI. So yeah. And on top of that, one of the best things is Adobe XD has direct integration with Photoshop and all. So I had the whole Creative Cloud package. I could just right click and edit anything in Photoshop, save it right there. The changes would reflect in Photoshop. So the versatility of the whole Creative Cloud system as a whole was very nice. Figma doesn't have as such things, but the plugins are nowadays coming in and helping out people to do the same thing Adobe XD is doing out there. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So thank you for this general idea because, being like a newbie, it's like overwhelming to understand whether, you should invest time to learn this software or that software. So it actually makes a little too cloudy inside the head.
Yeah.
So
I
thanks,
understand.
Aditya. Thank you so much for the experience sharing. Thank you. Yeah.
Aditya, is it possible to export these Figma files into XD? Or can we use the similar frames in XD also?
So I have a very funny answer to this. It seems to me that these two peoples are like absolute rivals and they absolutely hate each other. So what happens is Figma to XD comparison directly. So if I copy this particular frame and if I go to XD and I paste it, it'll just paste as a JPEG. If I do the same from XD to Figma, it'll also again paste as a JPEG. I don't know how Sketch reacts because Sketch is a Mac only software and I don't have a Mac. But yeah, there are certain tools which work well for Figma to Sketch and Sketch to Figma, because their whole architecture is very much similar. However, for XD, I tried it once personally and it did not work out well because it loses all these constraints and everything. So exporting and all works really well between Sketch and Figma. Obviously, things break there as well, but not as bad as how things break in Adobe XD and Figma switching. So
Okay.
I have one more question, Aditya.
Sure.
Talking about the constraints, like if, for example, I'm making a constraint patterns for a, like a basic app, which I want to keep using it for other apps that I be, creating in the future. So is it easy for me to bring those old files to a new file in Figma? Can we do it?
When you say constraint patterns, what do you mean exactly?
I mean a small library, maybe creating a library of certain,
Font
components
library
and stuff.
and all
I'm so
that
sorry.
stuff.
I'm so sorry. It's components. Yeah, not constraints.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Maybe the assets library is
So it can work. Basically, what you have to do is in Figma, you need either you need a plan. It won't work on free version of Figma. You need a student plan or a pro pack. So you can go ahead and create a team, and inside that team will have a team library where you can have all these elements and whatever. And once you have it there, if you go ahead and press Shift I, it'll like show you what components and I think used in this file, everything is there. I think this will also show you what do you call it, team component, something like that. I haven't exactly used it. I used it like an year ago. It was there. I'm pretty sure it's better now. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so it makes the process easy for, recreating something from the other app, some elements if I like. I would like to, just keep it for the next app.
Yeah.
So, it makes
it'll work.
easier.
As long as the project is in the same library, team library, it'll work out. Yeah. It'll
fine.
it'll have all your text styles, whatever, fonts and components you have.
Yeah. So for the one that we are using, the online free version, so it will not have access to those, right? So that we have to recreate it again and again. Got it.
I think as long as you're not adding someone to the team, it's fine. I'm not exactly aware about it. You have to try it once.
Chalo, fine. I'll
But-
just make a, understanding of it, and maybe
Yeah.
I'll come back to you with this. Yes.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Thank you.
One more thing, you're welcome. One more thing I forgot to tell you guys. Figma recently introduced this feature, and what happened was I went here and I looked for plugins, right? What I can actually do is I can just be here, press Shift plus I, and it will automatically open everything up. If I go to plugins, it will show me my recent plugins and plugins for community. And if I come here and type Iconify, it will show Iconify, and you can just click on that and it will automatically get installed in your system. So yeah, instead of going out there doing the whole thing, now you can do it here. I think it came up as a recent update. So yeah. Induvani, we had muted you earlier because you were not on mute. Can you please mute yourself now? Your server mute is now off. Yeah, thank you. Same for Soumya. I'm gonna server unmute you. Please mute yourself because we are having a lot of noise when you guys join. So cool. Is there anything else I can help you?
I have one question.
Yeah.
Again, this is out of context.
Yeah, it's fine. The session is over, so you can ask whatever.
Yeah, okay. I'm just curious as to how you keep yourself updated with all the dates that the Figma gives, or all the new features that they add. And I mean, I definitely learned a lot looking at today's session. But just to give a gist of how do you keep yourself updated on that?
So there are certain softwares which are your daily use softwares. If you go out there, what device do you have? Android or iOS? Sneha?
Android. Yeah, Android.
Perfect. So if you go out there and look for Figma tips and tricks videos on YouTube and all, the feed Google shows you will give you certain tips and tricks, and it will also show you what updates Figma is pushing. You will also get them here, like if you press this particular button. I think यहाँ पे भी they'll show like Figma has this particular convention in which we'll be discussing about these particular updates. So you just have to follow those. I mean, you need not attend those conventions. There's always hundreds of YouTubers giving a summary of what happened and implementing them in some way to show you how those things work. So that's how I basically have a keen interest in whatever softwares I use, Personally, I'm a tech enthusiast, so I keep updated. I like keep trying different things in different software. So that's how I know stuff. It's a personality trait. So if you want to, you can have, I mean, just imbibe the same trait. Go out there, start playing with everything, and then you'll realize. So if you ask me personally, like Figma also has a lot of options like which I never use, like pen and all. I hardly use them. I mean, it's very good for creating blobs and shapes, but there are multiple plugins out there which can give you blobs and shapes, right? So yeah, there's also one option which I mean, I think intersect or something. Even I haven't ever found myself in a situation where I have to use these. Let me just show you what I'm talking about. So if I keep these three rectangles, you see these options up here. I've never used them. I think I used them once. I used them once, but yeah. So there's like union selection, subtract selection, intersects. I to be honest, I don't even know what these means. I am supposed to know what these means, but I don't know because I have not came across any use case where I need them. However, when the use case arises, I'll know them. So yeah.
Got it, got it. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Great session, Aditya.
Thank you, Sneha.
Hi Aditya.
Hi, Priyanka.
Actually, could you tell me about something? I mean, about FigJam, because I have started using Figma and I have seen this FigJam kind of a thing in multiple times, but I don't know how to use it. I know it is used to connect with developers, but I don't know how. What is the use, like primarily?
So if you go to, there are certain users of FigJam. One of the users and how you will be using it. Developer things come later. So I can't answer that because I don't have work experience. I have freelance experience, not work experience. So all that, how things are given to the developer, everyone has their own way, and the corporate has their own way. So since I do not know the corporate way, I do not know how they use FigJam or anything. I cannot answer that. What I can answer you is there's this channel called Project Case Studies. You will go out there and you'll see people who have taken part in hackathons, and they will have their case studies and all. So if you browse those, or if you browse mine, because mine for sure, like it's there, or Mehk's or Asha's, I'm just giving you some random names, Sweta's, Pragya's. These people have their FigJam links included in their case studies. So if you go out there, you can view their FigJam files, and you can see how we utilized FigJam for our use, for our research, or for whatever steps we were conducting, whatever, jotting down these insights. And there are certain ways to do it. We use FigJam to our advantage in that particular case. So that's one way you can use FigJam. If you go through it, you'll look at it, you'll realize. You might get overwhelmed because there are too many things there, but if you have seen things of those extent, you won't get overwhelmed.
Actually, if you'll open the homepage of Figma also, there are multiple files which will tell, so that's also very overwhelming because I don't know what to do with those files.
I mean, once you open a file, they'll always show up. You can see there are so many files. What you can do is, like, if it's not your file, you can just, right click on it and remove from recent. It'll go away. It's like very simple.
No, not just because you have worked with many other people. That's why this all files are showing to you.
Yeah.
But if you had created, I mean, if this is your only account and you have created only your projects, then you might be seeing, okay, yeah, this thing also comes up. Yeah.
Okay. So
what do we have to do with these things?
I mean, these are just, advertisements or Figma's way of showing you, hey, you can use FigJam. You can see it's written there. You can explore FigJam templates, and you can do these daily things like user persona meetings and daily sync and all those things. If you don't like it, just close it. Gone. Simple.
Okay, so is it like the template, like in moving forward, we have to use it? So it is not mandatory that we have to use it.
FigJam. The templates are not necessary to use. Okay. Those are just templates. It's your choice if you want to use them or take inspiration from it. FigJam you will have to use. Or there are other things, Miro and stuff, but since Figma introduced FigJam and it's there, out there, right in front of you in the same software, why not use FigJam? So yeah.
Okay.
So I think by 10:40, we'll be closing this session. I'll be stopping my stream and I'll be disconnecting to take some break and stuff. So yeah. If you have any question, you can keep asking till 40. Or else if not, I'll just drop. So let's just wait till 38. You can see the time bottom.
Sure, Aditya, if we think of anything more, we can post in the group.
Yes, sir. What were you saying, Asha?
I said thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome, Asha.
The entire thing during hackathon.
Yeah.
And we didn't really pay a lot of attention there. But
Yeah, there was no time, Asha. Everyone was working on their own thing. So yeah. Even I did not pay a lot of attention on what was going on in the documentation, what was going on, and what questions they're asking. So yeah, it's a hackathon thing. But now you know how I did this.
I'm glad like you picked up a little easier screen to understand and with not too many elements.
Yeah, it will get to there later in time. But yeah, it will get to
Yeah,
there.
this was really helpful. Thank you.
So
Okay.
great, Aditya.
Thank you, Pushpa. So since are there any questions? No questions. Okay, cool. So since there are no questions, I thank you all for staying till the end, and thank you all for joining. And yeah, the session is officially over. Let me just quickly stop the recording. Yeah.